Hello and welcome to the third episode of Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers for the N64. Today's episode is That Snow Ghost. It was the 17th episode of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You series, and it was also the season finale for the very first season of that show. My guess for why the developers chose these episodes in particular is that they were more than likely the more memorable episodes of the series. Other than that, it would just be random picks. Now, unlike the last episode, What a Night for a Night, this episode differs in how it changes up the mix. Unlike before, the monster in this game version of the episode stays more or less very close to what the show had, in both appearance and in noises it makes. However, here, the story is much more changed from what the show had. I'm going to get into that a little bit more later as we play. I'll give you the quick rundown before we fully start up here. In the show, the gang comes to Wolf's End Lodge, which the name stays the same in both the game and the show, for a little bit of a ski vacation. Here, I'm thinking they're just showing up for no reason. There's not really much reason given for why they're here. Now, as we move on, he talks about business being slow. And he says, well, Snow Ghost, of course. Now here is where the game differs very largely from the show. He says that the owner of Wolf's End Lodge is Fu Chin Lee. In the show, this is not true. Well, it's partly true, partly not. The owner of the lodge is actually the man you see us talking to here, whose name is Mr. Greenway. Now, in the show, there is a character with a very Asian-sounding name, I suppose. However, that's Fu Lan Chi, whereas here it's Fu Chin Lee. It ends up creating other differences as we go along, which I'll get into. For now, all you need to know is that in the show, Mr. Greenway is the lodge owner. Here, he is not. Now, while we're here, as Velma says, we might as well solve a mystery. Why not? And he says Mr. Leach will attend to our bags. We don't get to see Mr. Leach here, but Mr. Leach is a character in the show. And already we're sent off to go find some firewood. Now, in the show, the introduction of the Snow Ghost is also quite a bit different. I imagine the differences are so that you're alone and not with the rest of the gang. As in the show, they run into the Snow Ghost quite shortly after coming to the lodge, and they're all together inside. It doesn't end up causing that much of a disparity between the two, but it's still a noticeable change. And we found some firewood. That was quick. Oh, but we also found the Snow Ghost. That was also quick. Now, I have seen some discussion about the Snow Ghost in the game being different in terms of his horns and his eyes. However, I don't really see those differences here in the game. What we want to do is run around. I more or less just skipped it. Just go in this door. Once you do that, you're safe. And we basically switch sides here. We're now inside, they'll go outside. And they more or less just leave us to it. Now, there's not much to do in the lobby here. Mostly just run around. You can look at this very creepy portrait. I guess that's supposed to be the snow ghost? I'm not sure. Wearing a cop's hat. I don't know. But what you want to do is head straight back here and start exploring the lodge. Our first item is right here, and it's a corset. Obviously this will be important, so why not just pick it up? Other than that, the room is pretty empty. All you can really do is come over here and pick up this piece of coal. Now, the usefulness for the coal is pretty debatable. You'll see why later on in this episode. But for now, let's just head straight over here. Now, another theme for this episode is, well, this looks like where they wanted to put a lot of mazes. But all you really need to know for this is just go straight down till the picture changes, head right, head down again, head down, and then right again. And then more or less you've reached your destination. And here we run into Mr. Leech. This is the first time you see him in the game. It's a little strange here because he more or less gives away the fact that he's one of the culprits right away. Now, he will notice us, as you can see here.
Run, Scoob!
And he'll chase us. But this is the last time we'll actually see Mr. Leech. And you just follow the same path to escape. Scooby is luckily keeping him away from you pretty well. And once we're out, pop back in the room, head straight back to where we were. Scooby-Doo trying to get in my way again. And what's this? Another invoice. And it's to a Mr. R. Necros. That should seem familiar to the last episode. But other than that, there's really nothing to do in here. The other pathways lead to pictures, but beyond that, there's really no reason to just start wandering around. Ooh. See, now I've got myself a little lost because I wanted to show off one of the other pathways. But beyond that, that's it. You do have a couple more rooms to check here. You hear the snow ghost, right? He must be in the room. Oh wait, no. He's at the windows. Now, he will scare you if you step in front of the window that he appears in at the time. However, he goes in orders, so the only way you could really get caught by him is if you just weren't paying attention. Or if Scooby blocks you in like that. All you really want to do is run in there like I did, grab the white sheet, and then just leave the room. And this room's not really important, but I'll show it off. We don't need the food, so I'm not going to run the little mini-game. But this is where you go in this level if you're low on your fright meter and you want to fill it back up. Shouldn't really happen considering how short these levels are. This door is locked for now, so we can't really do anything with it. So, that all said and done, we're actually done in the lodge for now. All we really need to do is go outside. Now, I could go up and talk to the gang, but there's actually one more thing we need to pick up. And it's off in this direction. Jewels. Now, jewels are in the TV show version of this episode. But you find them in a bit of a, or they find them in a bit of a different way. Here we just find it where we found the firewood. Firewood's not really a thing in the show, so of course it's a bit different there. Now what we do is we more or less just hand over everything we picked up to the gang, and I'll try and skip through this quickly. Pushing start instantly skips the dialogue. Now for the coal, if you try and give it to him, he tells us, why don't we just hold on to that? Maybe we can use it for something. And this is the same for the Egyptian mask in What a Night for a Night. Now, once we hand him the invoice, the scene will change. And now we're back inside. They tell us we need to find Fu Chin Lee and find out what the snow ghost is up to. They tell us to go search the woods while they look around the lodge. Well, that's a little bit lame because we already checked out the lodge, but whatever. Now you can see behind the building, there was as Shaggy mentioned here, a giant snowplow. Sorry, tongue-tied there. But, as Velma steps in, it's been taken care of for us. And they leave us to it. They're just going to sit here and do absolutely nothing. Looks like we found the snow ghost. Now, this is what I mean by the coal being debatable. Those snowmen back there are where we use the coal. And I'm leaving Scooby behind and he's yelling at me. But you really don't need it, as you can just outrun him here and go into any of the rooms you need. But what would happen if I did get caught by him multiple times? Let's show that off here. Provided he doesn't wow, he actually has a build-up time on his run, too. And after about 4 really annoying and loud hits, this is what happens when you get caught. Shaggy and Scooby basically get scared and run away. They tend to run to a predetermined place every time. Here it's the lodge. In the last episode, they basically go in the elevator and go to the 2nd floor. I will show you here how to use the coal. It's really not necessary, like I said, but the game gives me the ability to use it. Why not? And he'll run away and we'll never have to deal with him again. Well, in this area. And with him taken care of, we can just go along our merry way. Now up here you'll see we have a sawmill. Now in the TV show, there is a sawmill in this episode. But a lot more gets done with it other than an obstacle course for logs to go across, and I really don't know who would be using this sawmill, with it being as dangerous as it is.
Who's that?
And with saws just kind of sawing at the floor, that seems real smart. But in the game, all we have is a bone and a Scooby snack. That's it. In the show, this is where Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby, after saving Velma from being strapped to a log, find out that the sawmill is being used to smuggle jewels.
Who's that?
There is a smuggling ring in the game for this episode, but the details, as you can tell, are different. Now we just head this way once we have our bone. And want to head over towards this dark-looking hole in the wall. And see something back there. Let's head on over towards that. Oh, looks like a dog. Maybe Scooby could do something with it. Maybe I should just talk to it. Oh, nope, he doesn't like me. That's okay. All I need is a bone. And he'll come up, grab the bone, and he'll go away. Well, go over to the corner. And I'll never have to deal with him again. He'll stop every once in a while, but it's nothing to worry about. Okay. And this is another sort of maze-like area, but it's not all that complicated. Just stick to the right wall, and you're good to go in a very short amount of time. Now here, we come to a Tibetan temple. You run over here to the chimes. Push A, make a little noise. Doesn't really do anything. There is a Tibetan temple in the episode of the TV show.
Run, Scoob!
And I'll explain how that differs here. Now here we run into Fu Chin Lee, who is Fu Lan Chi in the TV show. Not only is his hair color different, it's white in the show, and the name is different, he uses meeting the gang to explain that he ran into to a Yeti when he was in Asia. That Yeti, as it tried to get to him, fell off a cliff and died. He explains that he believes and fears that the snow ghost is the ghost of that Yeti come to haunt him. He also tells this story to Mr. Greenway, who in the show is the owner of the lodge. Here he just owns the lodge and there's a snow ghost going around.
Well,
they don't really explain here why he owns the lodge and also is in this Tibetan temple, other than he's too scared to leave it. Apparently the snow ghost stole some of the artifacts, but beyond that, there really isn't anything. We do get a key from him, though, and that's something. And that's really all we do with him. We just exit the cave and continue on. And as we head over here, I'm going to have to end this episode and say that I'll see you all next time so we can find out what's in this little shack. I'll see you then.